He killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey. He tore a lion apart with his bare hands. He carried the gates of a city, iron hinges and all, up a mountain on his shoulders. No army stopped him, no weapon, no king, but a woman asking the same question. 4 times, over months, in the same bed where he felt safest. That's what broke him. This is what it looks like when God's strongest man hits the floor. If this is your first time here, here's what you need to know. Samson wasn't a hero. He was a weapon, called before he was born, set apart. Nazarite from the womb, no razor would ever touch his head. His strength wasn't in his muscles. It was in a covenant, a promise between him and God, sealed in 7 uncut locks of hair. For 20 years he judged Israel, terrorized the Philistines, killed with his hands, with fire, with a donkey's jawbone. He was untouchable. Then he walked into the valley of Sorek, and he met Delilah. Judges 16 doesn't call her a prostitute. It doesn't call her a spy. It just says he loved her. That's the most terrifying part. The Philistine lords came to her, 5 of them, each carrying 1,100 pieces of silver. That's 5,500 silver pieces. More money than most people in that era would see in a lifetime. For one question, find out where his great strength comes from. Entice him. Find out how we can overpower him. And she said yes. She didn't hesitate. She didn't negotiate. She didn't ask why. She took the contract. She took the silver. And she went to work. Now here's what we need to understand about psychological warfare, because that's exactly what this is. Delilah doesn't attack Samson. She doesn't accuse him. She doesn't threaten him. She asks, "Tell me where your great strength comes from, and how you could be tied up and subdued." That's a strange question to ask a man you love. But emotional manipulation doesn't announce itself. It arrives wearing the face of intimacy. The question sounds like curiosity. It feels like closeness. And Samson, this man who had never lost a fight in his life, smiled and told her a lie. Lie number 1. If anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings, I'll become as weak as any other man. While he slept, Delilah had him bound. Philistine soldiers waited in the next room. She shouted the signal. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He snapped the bowstrings like threads of yarn on a flame. They never even reached him. But here's what Samson missed in that moment. She set him up. She had soldiers waiting. She shouted the signal. She watched to see if the binding held. This was not a woman testing his strength out of affection. This was an active attempt on his life. And Samson stayed. Lie number 2. If anyone ties me with new ropes, I'll become as weak as any other man. Same pattern. Soldiers in the other room. Signal. Samson snaps the ropes. He walked away, laughing. Lie number 3. Weave the 7 braids of my hair into the fabric on your loom. This time, he's letting her touch his hair. Think about that. The one thing he'd protected his entire life. And now he's allowing a woman who has already tried to turn him over twice to touch it. He's not just staying in the room anymore. He's moving toward the edge. Same pattern, same soldiers, same signal. He pulls the loom out of the ground and walks off with it, still attached to his head. 3 attempts on his life. In the same room, in the same bed, by the same woman. And he came back every single time. This is the part of the story nobody wants to talk about, because it's too familiar. We all know what it's like to stay somewhere we shouldn't, to keep going back to the thing that keeps costing us. Samson isn't stupid. He's addicted to her, to the feeling, to the version of himself he thinks he is when he's with her. The enemy doesn't need to overpower you. Sometimes it just needs to stay comfortable enough that you keep showing up. Then came the fourth time. Judges 16:16 uses specific language. She pressed him daily with her words and urged him until his soul was vexed to death. Vexed to death. That's not frustration. That's not annoyance. That's the slow death of a man who has run out of fight. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't threaten. She asked, day after day after day, how can you say you love me when you won't trust me with this? That sentence is the most dangerous weapon in the entire book of Judges. Not Goliath's spear, not Sisera's 900 iron chariots, not the armies of the Philistines. How can you say you love me? And Samson, this man with the strength of 1,000 soldiers, broke. No razor has ever touched my head. I have been a Nazirite, set apart to God since before I was born. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me. I would become as weak as any other man. There it is. Not a lie this time. The truth. The only thing he'd been protecting his entire life. Given freely, in the dark, in the wrong bed, to the wrong woman. And Delilah, she knew. Judges says she realized he had told her everything. She didn't celebrate. She didn't soften. She sent for the Philistine lords. Come back one more time. He has told me everything. She let him fall asleep on her lap. While he slept, they shaved his head. 7 braids. Gone. The room was quiet. No fanfare. No ceremony. The covenant sealed before his first breath. Broken in a moment of sleep. Then came the signal. Samson, the Philistines are upon you. And he woke up. Judges 16:20 contains one of the most heartbreaking sentences in all of Scripture. He awoke from his sleep and thought, I'll go out as before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. He didn't know. He still thought the power was his. He still thought he could just stand up and fight. He'd done it 3 times in this very room. But the covenant was broken. The Spirit of the Lord had departed, and he had no idea. They seized him. The men he had terrorized for 20 years finally had him, and they did what they'd always wanted to do. They gouged out his eyes. Not a quick death. Not mercy. They wanted him to live. They wanted him to walk around in the dark of what he had lost. They bound him with bronze shackles. Took him down to Gaza, the same city where he'd carried their gates up a mountain. Now he was walking those same streets in chains, and they put him to work in the prison, grinding grain, the strongest man who ever lived, a mill donkey. There's a detail most people skip past, one sentence buried in the middle of the captivity narrative. But the hair on his head began to grow back after it had been shaved. That's it. That's all it says. No angel appeared. No voice from heaven. Just the hair grew back. But that one detail changes everything, because it means God wasn't done. In the darkness of a Philistine prison, in the humiliation of a blind man grinding grain, the covenant was quietly being restored. Samson couldn't see it. He couldn't feel it. He didn't hear a word, but something was growing back in the dark. That hits different when you're in your own version of the millstone, when the thing you wasted is being quietly rebuilt without your permission. Not because you earned it, but because the calling was never yours to forfeit in the first place. The Philistines threw a party, a massive sacrifice to their god Dagon, the one they credited with delivering Samson into their hands. Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste to our land and multiplied our slain, 3,000 people. 5 lords, the nobles, the crowds, and somewhere in the middle of the celebration, someone had an idea. Bring Samson out. Let him perform for us. There's a cruelty in that request that deserves to sit for a moment. These are the people who lived in fear of his name for 20 years. And now they wanted to watch him perform. They brought him out of the prison. A young servant led him by the hand. The man who once carried city gates up a mountain, being led by a child. The crowd roared when they saw him, and Samson, blind, chained, humiliated before 3,000 people, made one quiet request. Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple. And then, the most raw prayer in the entire Bible. Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. That's not a triumphant prayer. That's not a warrior's prayer. That's a broken man in the dark, asking for one more moment, not to be restored, not to have his sight back, not a second chance at the life he wasted, just one more moment of what he used to be. And the God who doesn't forget covenants heard him. Samson braced himself, one hand on each pillar. Let me die with the Philistines. And he pushed. The roof came down on the lords and all the people in it. 3,000 people. One moment. Judges 16:30 closes the chapter with a sentence that has echoed for 3,000 years. Thus the dead he killed at his death were more than those he had killed during his life. Let that land. His greatest act was his last act. The man who wasted 20 years of supernatural calling, who spent his anointing on personal vendettas and the wrong women, who gave up the only secret that mattered in the lap of someone who never loved him, in one final act of surrender, did more for the people of God than in all his previous years combined. His brothers came and took his body, buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the tomb of his father Manoah. That's how it ends. Not with a parade, not with a monument, a tomb, a family, a story that outlived him. Here's what Samson's life actually teaches, not the Sunday school version, the grown-up version. A wasted calling isn't a canceled calling. God didn't show up in the temple because Samson finally had it together. He showed up because the covenant was still alive, because the hair had grown back in the dark, because the God who called him before his first breath was still there at his last. Whatever you've wasted, whatever covenant you've broken through comfort, through compromise, through the wrong person in the wrong room, the hair grows back. The question is whether you'll be in position to use it when it does. Samson was at the end. That's enough. If this Samson series hit you, I want to hear from you. What story should we take on next? Drop your pick in the comments. Same depth, same honesty. No Sunday school version. See you in the next one.